Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Below Grade Level. Let's kick this into high gear. Hello and welcome to Below Grade Level, the show where we take the books that we read as kids and read them as adults and ruin them. I am one of your hosts, Jonathan Eaton, and with me, as always, are Bekah Eaton.
Hello.
And Chris Zaleski.
Hello.
Oh, that's interesting. Chris, you sound different.
I do sound different, Jonathan.
Why?
It's because I'm actually here.
Oh my god! Oh, I'm touching you. I'm touching. I
That was
touched
weird.
him.
Human
That
contact.
was
I made it
weird.
weird. I made it as weird as I possibly could. This is the first podcast that we have recorded in person. That's not true. We did one about the Babysitters Club.
Yeah, we did a special one about the Babysitters Club
Forget
show.
about that. But this is the first podcast that we're recording in person with a guest. And that guest is none other than first-time below grade level possible future all-star, our good friend, Huey Hesson.
Hi guys, it's
Hi.
me. Wow. Do we get to touch? Is that
Yeah, I can touch
okay? I've got like clammy, like lemonade
It was
hands.
so cold.
Lemonade hands.
Lemonade. Oh. Well, that's been our show.
Well, it's a good run.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for being our first in-person guest. Jesus Christ, I don't remember. I literally do not remember the last time we had people in person to do a podcast.
I mean, it was sometime at this house. I think we were just in the dining room. I don't think it's been
Yeah.
since we set up the
Oh,
actual
yeah.
rig in the office.
That's another thing, is that this is the first time that we're actually using like the full podcast room setup that I made in January of 2020, a much simpler time where we were all filled with a lot more hope.
It's so nice in here. I really, really like it in here.
Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah. It's got a good vibe.
I put as much Legos and shit on the wall as I could to dampen the sound.
Yeah, that's why there's Legos.
Yeah. It was
The only reason
It
why.
seemed like a better investment than like professional audio equipment.
The egg crates.
The egg crates. So, Huey,
Yes, sir.
what's your relationship with Bruce Coville?
I mean, much like from what I heard from you guys, it was all Scholastic Book Fair all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I read, I don't remember what books I read of his. There's one called like Bruce Coville's like Monster Stories or something like that.
I have that one.
Yes.
I was looking for, since we were in person, we're not reading off of a laptop. I was like, I'll get my hard copy of My Teacher is an Alien.
Oh.
I don't have one.
Oh, okay.
I thought I did, but I don't. And I was looking through all of the books, but I did find a stack of other Bruce Coville books, and it was all like alien stories and monster stories. So
I was all about that.
Literally-
My sneakers in Dimension X. That's a good one.
I don't have that.
Yeah. There was like from this time period, I remember reading a book called The Eyes of Kid Midas. That was really good. That had nothing to do with turning things to gold.
What?
What was it called?
It sounds like a child version of King Midas.
It was so weird. Basically, it was about a kid who found these super futuristic glasses, put them on, and could make things happen by willing them.
What?
Yeah.
It should have been like turning toy trucks into gold.
That would have made way more sense in
Sounds like a
the
Twilight
context.
Zone episode.
It's so, like there's one part I remember distinctly where he sends another child to hell.
Oh my god!
That's fucked up. Wow.
I remember one time I was in elementary school and I had a bully and she really sucked. And I remember asking my mom if she would go to hell when she died.
What'd your
'cause
mom say?
I don't remember. But the fact that I asked that question felt really creepy. Like, that stuck with me.
I mean, that just means that she was a real bitch.
I can't remember what my mom said.
She probably said yes.
Sure.
Probably.
She's like, yeah, she'll go to hell. Don't worry about it. But you never read My Teacher is an Alien.
I have never read this one.
So you're experiencing this for the first time as everybody except me, and I still kind of count because I don't remember anything past like 2 years ago. So.
Oh, well, perfect. Yeah. Same.
That was when the accident happened.
What? So, last time, to catch everybody up on My Teacher is an Alien, Susan, our protagonist, after finding out that her teacher is an alien, Mr. Smith, tried to convince the school nerd Peter, who is like really just a nerd because he reads books, and that seems like a real fuck you to like.
That's all it took.
I know.
I mean, that's all it took for my bully.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You gonna be okay?
No. I'm going to go on my healing journey through this book.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll have like a redemption arc.
Comeuppance, yeah.
He'll get back at Duncan or something.
Yeah, I hope so. Especially considering that's how the book started, was him getting like beaten up for reading a book.
But we also realized last episode that he's a detective.
Oh, right! Right.
And you started doing the noir voice.
Yeah, we started doing the noir voice. Okay, now I'm excited. So Susan and Peter decide to sneak back into the alien's house, which is a terrible idea, because she already broke and entered once. So why not break and enter a second time? After finding a fridge full of cold cuts, which I got hung up on for a while, and I just want to let everybody listening know we did get cold cuts the next day.
They were really good.
Oh, good.
Really good.
Yeah, it was worth it.
I feel like I'm getting all these completionist story arcs.
They found Ms. Schwartz in the attic in like a force field, who told them that the alien, Mr. Smith's, what's his name?
Braxton?
Broxholm.
Broxholm.
Broxholm's evil plan is to find 5 kids to take back, to abduct, basically. So 1 really good kid, 1 really bad kid, and 3 medium kids. And I think that's and where we left off was he was dragging 2 kids away who were like fighting.
2 good kids. It was like the 2 best kids in the school.
Oh, shit.
Was the whole thing.
That's right. The French girl.
The French girl, Stacey
and then
Benoit.
a new character we
Yeah.
had not met prior to that
All right.
age.
So, without further ado, we should just get into it. Chapter 13. Rumors. Love that album.
It was so good.
Stacy, who's saying this? Okay. Stacy and Mike did a good job, didn't they? Said Peter when we got together on the playground at recess. What are you talking about? Oh wait, no, she's Hermione. I'm remembering it all now. What are you talking about? I asked. Stacy and Mike, didn't you think that fight they put on was pretty good? The fight they put on, I echoed. Peter sounded impatient. Stacy and Mike are afraid Broxholm will decide one of them is the best kid in class, and then try and kidnap whichever one he chooses, doll. So they decided to fake a fight. Mess up their reputations a little. All of a sudden, everything came clear. Not for me. I'm still in the dark. That's why Duncan brought Mrs. Smith an apple this morning, I said. Peter giggled. Pathetic, isn't it? But it might work. I don't know what voice I'm doing anymore. Right now, Duncan. I lost it.
You sound like Cher, and we've already done Cher.
We already did Cher. Well, yeah, see? Right? That's what I want to do right now. Duncan is a sure pick for the worst kid in class. That's way better. But if he works really hard, he might actually manage to pull himself off the bottom of the list, you see?
But Duncan doesn't know that.
Did they tell everyone?
I don't think so.
They had been very secretive up to this point,
Right.
I think.
Okay,
there's been no scene where they've announced it.
I don't understand this.
Super news to me.
Yeah.
We didn't skip anything. Like, this is out of quite nowhere.
I wasn't that drunk.
No.
She tried to tear his ear off, but that's like it. She didn't do that.
I forgot.
I forgot she tried to rip his face off.
Oh my god.
Since he knows no matter what he does, he's never going to push himself into the most average category. If he can improve at all, he's probably safe. Seriously, the other kids in class don't know this.
Yeah.
I'm upset. The problem is, he's been so bad all year that it's going to take a major effort to get out of the bottom spot.
It's like Santa's list.
Right. He's on the naughty list. Peter paused, then added, I intend to have some fun with him over the next 3 days. Ooh, Peter.
Oh, Peter. You go, Peter.
3 days. That was all the time we had before Broxholm was scheduled to kidnap 5 of us into space. That's not very nice, I started to say.
Did we know that also? The time frame, was that established?
I think so.
I don't remember that, but
God,
I don't know.
I think Robin Williams said
We're making a lot of leaps in this chapter.
I know. 5 years later.
But then I remembered the way Duncan had... I'm sorry. I paused because there was a period. But then I remembered the way Duncan had, tormented Peter for the last 6 years.
Duncan had.
I decided I couldn't blame Peter if he wanted to get a little of his own back while he could.
This does sound like... You guys said it a bunch.
Okay.
It does sound like old people talking. Get his own back. You know, nobody says
Get
that.
his own back? What? Any decision to be a nice guy about this was going to have to come from inside himself.
Wow.
That's deep.
At last.
I decided to change the subject. Tell me, I said. Just how did they know about all this? Oh, okay. All right, we're fucking finally getting to it. But she's talking as if she knows. Okay, whatever. Oh, I guess that was Peter talking. I told them, said Peter. And they believed you? Actually, it made sense. No, it doesn't. If they were going to believe anyone, it would be Peter. He had a reputation as being the most honest kid in class, which was one of his problems.
Ahem. He didn't know how to tell the kind of little white lies that keep people from getting mad at you. But I doubted that even his reputation for honesty would convince people that this story was true. Peter smiled. Actually, you're the reason no one believed me. It started with Stacy. She just didn't believe you had really fainted, or that if you had, you would have tried to grab the teacher's ear on the way down. So she knew something was up. Later, she cornered me on the playground and demanded to know what you were up to. Why you? I asked. Peter blushed. You're going to hate this, he said. There's a rumor going around that you're my girlfriend because we've been spending so much time talking on the playground. What? Yuck, I yelled. Yuck,
wow.
yuck, yuck. Suddenly I realized what I had just done. Don't take that personally, I said. I won't, said Peter, since I feel the same way. I think you're fucking disgusting. Hey, I thought, what do you mean you feel the same way?
But we didn't have time to work that out right then. Anyway, said Peter, Stacy was convinced. I must know what was going on. And since I did, I told her. The whole story? I gasped. Peter nodded. She didn't believe me at first, of course. But then she talked to you on Saturday, and you told her there was nothing actually wrong with you, and figured it must be true. He laughed. That was all it took. By Saturday afternoon, the phone lines were humming all over Kennatuck Falls?
Yep.
Yes.
Wow, sorry. Kennatuck Falls. How come you know all this, I asked. How come no one asked me? Peter shrugged. That's not the way rumors work. People never check with the source. They always ask someone else. Don't ask me why, but it's true. Lots of stupid things are true. These kids are so worldly.
Is that in it?
Yeah. Lots of stupid things are true. Anyway, Stacy told Mike, and Mike told someone else, and that was it. It's the kind of story that travels fast.
And their friends, and their friends,
And
They told two friends, and then they told two friends.
And they all believe it, I asked. Peter shook his head. I don't think so. At least not yet. Except for Duncan. He's so dim he'll believe anything. Especially if Stacy and Mike believe it.
Jesus Christ. They really are. They're very worldly.
Yeah, these kids have seen shit.
Yeah,
They really have.
Well, their teacher is an alien.
That is true. I don't share that with them.
He thinks they know everything, see? That's why he hates them so much. I see, I said. Though some of this was coming a little too fast for me. And us, the reader! Well, do you suppose if enough of us start to believe it, the adults will pay any attention to us? Peter looked as if I had just suggested Mickey Mouse was likely to be the next president of the United States. Fucking weirder things will happen, Peter. Get fucking ready.
Tis.
Get ready. Get real, Susan, he said. They'll say it's just another crazy kid rumor, you know? Do you remember last year when half of the people in this school were convinced the president was coming to Kennatuck Falls to make a speech? I nodded. I had almost believed it myself. Half because so many of my friends did, half because I wanted it to be true. God, I wanted to see Bill Clinton. Oh, wait.
This was
George
89.
Bush. I wanted to see George Bush Sr. I also remember how my father had laughed when he had heard about it. Just because 1,000 idiots believe something, that doesn't make it true, Susan, he had said. George Bush visiting you?
Meanwhile, we know how annoying it is, actually, when the president's around because all the streets are fucking closed.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Oy. Where was I? Which was true, I guess, but it certainly didn't help us now. That was when Peter decided to complicate things with a new problem. What are you gonna do about this yourself? He asked.
What do you mean? Well, since one of the things on Broxholm's shopping list is the best kid in the class, if we can't unmask him, you've got a good change of being picked yourself. I wonder if the Kindle version's worse somehow? Like, there's the typos galore.
Oh, boy. Wait, are we to believe that Susan's the best kid in class?
She can just play the piccolo really well, last I heard.
That was the best laugh I'd had in days. You're nuts, I said. There's no way I could be picked for the top kid in class. There is too. It all depends on how he's making his choice. The way I see it, there are 4 of us that might be considered best in class. Stacy, Michael, you, and me. You're nuts, I said again. Listen to me! Stacy and Michael are your basic perfect students. But they just did a good job of taking themselves out of the running. Though to tell you the truth, I don't think Broxholm would have chosen either of them anyway. They're real bright, but they don't think that much. They believe everything the teacher tells them.
Wow.
I'm sure Broxholm is bright enough to know that doesn't make a great student.
Okay.
Again, they're 11?
In 6th grade.
That's some weird
In
shade.
6th grade, I was like, what pog do you have?
You're not like, you're book smart, but you're not street
I
smart.
don't feel like you're comprehending
You
Tolstoy as well as I am.
You don't have the emotional intelligence just because you have the book learning?
I'm pretty sure in 6th grade I was just like, I can't wait to see Independence Day. What the
He punches an alien.
book? Okay.
He paused. Then there's me, he said. I'm real bright, but I'm not motivated. And I'm not very social. You know how it goes.
Chris.
Triggered.
You know how this goes. Peter is a good student, but he's not very well-rounded. I hear it every year. That leaves you, Susan. You get good grades. You get along with everyone. You're in all kinds of activities. Let's face it, you may not be the best in any one thing, but when you look at everything together, you make a pretty good pick for top of the class. I stared at him in horror. You're not kidding, are you? He shook his head.
She is the best at one thing. Breaking into people's houses.
Yes.
Has quite a streak going at this point.
She's incredible at beanies.
She's probably broken into more people's houses than any other 6th grader.
Chapter 14. What can Duncan Dougal do? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I had been worried that Broxholm might want me for one of his average slots. It never even crossed my mind that I could be considered the top student in the class.
Nor us.
Peter! What am I going to do? I wailed. Peter shrugged his skinny shoulders. Don't worry, doll. I've got a plan. I thought he meant the camera. He didn't, but I didn't know that then. So why even bring it up? The plan he actually meant was so weird, I never would have thought of it. Because I am a normie.
The camera?
They were going to take a picture. They were going to break in yet again and take a picture of the teacher.
A third time.
Yeah.
Rule of 3. I took a deep breath and tried to settle down. I'm glad you mentioned that, I
Don't be
said,
hysterical, Susan.
referring to the camera. I think I figured out the best time for me to get back into Broxholm's house. You mean us, said Peter. We're a fucking team.
You mean us and 5 other kids. Let's push our luck.
I shook my head. I mean me, I said. I'm going to do it tomorrow morning during my music lesson time. That way Mr. Smith won't suspect anything when I leave the room. I figure if I use my bike, I can make it to his house and back before I'm really missed. I'll get in trouble later, but at least I'll have the proof we need. You're not going alone, babe, said Peter. Yes, I am, I said. If we both take off, it's going to look suspicious, especially considering the amount of time we've spent together lately. Maybe suspicious enough that Broxholm will have to pretend he's sick just so he can check up on us. I hadn't seen Broxholm spelled out before. It's like a mid-suburb in New York. It's like...
It's right
Bronx
next to
Holmes.
Schenectady.
Send it P.O. Box 302, Broxholm, New York.
Okay.
As a child, the town name that always bothered me was Newport News, Virginia.
Newport News?
Yeah.
Oh,
wasn't
why
that
did they call it
cigarettes?
that?
But don't they have something to do with cigarettes? Don't they have
think
like a
so.
giant cigarette?
Is that where
thingy
Newports
there?
come from?
Wow.
I could be wrong, but I feel like that's a thing that's true. But if I'm wrong and we Google it later, please cut this out.
I will not.
I know you won't. God damn it.
Okay. Let me see.
Shit talked to my cousin last time. I didn't cut that out.
Okay. Just so he can check up on us. We don't want him walking in on us while we're taking off photos. I doubt we could.
Sure you don't.
Yeah, it seems very
No
racy.
one wants to be walked in on when you're taking photos. Am I right?
Girls on Film is playing in the background.
Peter's like, work it, work it.
I doubt
Eat
we could
those
manage to
cold
sneak.
I'm gonna want to get cold cuts again tomorrow.
God damn it.
Maybe he's like part of Big Cold Cut, you know, like Bruce Coville is getting a cut of Cold Cut.
Someone from Subway was like, we have an idea for a book, Bruce. It's called My Teacher's an Alien, but really it's a way for you to
Just
push
work
the
in
push the sandwich agenda.
This is the Subway Gold Card. Oh my god. Okay.
Just name one of your characters Jared. It'll hold up.
That will never be a problem. I doubt we could manage to sneak out of his house without getting caught a second time, especially if he's looking for us. Then I should go instead, said Peter. You might not have enough time. I'll just skip school altogether.
Oh, shit.
I'm
Now-
a rebel, Daddy.
How can you do that? I asked.
It's easy, just don't go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most basic thing.
It's pretty easy to skip school, you just don't go to
go.
school.
Peter sighed. I keep trying to tell you. Yes, I saw that sitting there. I've heard it so many times. That is the Chekhov's gun of this encounter here.
Check out slide whistle.
Do you think they're Chekhov's cold cuts?
Oh, I hope they do come back.
I hope so.
I keep trying to tell you. It doesn't make any difference what we do. As long as I don't get in trouble with the law, no one cares.
What?
Man, these kids are hardcore.
Yeah, Peter really, he's got an arc. He's just like, I want to read John Carter. And now he's
like
breaking into people's houses. Let him lock me up. Peter, that's not a very nice way to talk about your parents, I said. I don't have parents, he snapped. I've got a parent, period. And he doesn't care what I do as long as I don't get in trouble. I felt stupid.
Jeez.
I felt stupid. Here I had known this kid for 6 years, and I didn't even know he only had one parent. A fucking loser. All right, I said. We'll go together. Why don't I just go alone? Peter said. I'm always alone. I shook my head. I got this whole thing started. It's my job. Actually, I wasn't really feeling all that noble. I wanted to see Miss Schwartz again to make sure she was okay and also get some advice, while she's stuck in a force field. Peter shrugged. You're the only one who's going to land in hot water, dame. If that's what you want to do, it's okay with me. Then it was time to go back inside, even though all the other kids had finished playing Foursquare. Even though the major weirdness was over for the day, you could sense a kind of nervous energy in the classroom. The other kids didn't really believe the rumors about Mr. Smith being an alien, at least not yet. But after the little show Stacy and Mike had put on, they were starting to take things pretty seriously. I feel like these pages are shorter.
I think it's just because it's
of the
on the Kindle. Yeah.
That's fine. It's zippy.
It would have been funny if it wasn't so scary. The next morning, I rode my, I'm guessing that's supposed to be bike to school.
Bork?
You keep getting all the problems.
It says pick. I
Pick?
rode my pick to school.
What?
Maybe it's a brand name.
All right. carrying
my
my
Huffy.
piccolo and camera in my backpack. As I was putting the lock on my front wheel, Duncan Dougal came sidling up to me and said, "If you and Peter are pulling some kind of joke on me, I'm going to turn you into peanut butter."
Wow.
Let's let that
Smooth or
one...
crunchy?
What? Strange as it may seem, Duncan's threat made me feel better. At least I knew there were some things in the world that I could still count on.
I just like the tension.
"It's no joke, Duncan," I said, drawing a cross over my heart with my fingers. He looked at me suspiciously. Then he nodded. "Okay," he said. "Now, what are we going to do about it?" Now, that was something I hadn't expected. An offer of help from Duncan Dougal. "Think quick," I told myself. "This may not happen again for another 10 years. Are you going to need his help again in 10 years?
When we're in 16th grade.
I looked at Duncan. "How would you feel about skipping school today?" I asked. He grinned, showing the big gap between his front teeth. "I love skipping school," he said.
They're going to get like a whole squad together. Watch.
Oh my god, I was joking about more kids breaking into his house.
Yeah.
But it kind of seems
How many
like...
kids can we fit in this house?
Yeah.
Also, when I was a kid and I realized, like, making a promise while crossing your heart, like, when I realized that there was no actual consequences for breaking your promise after crossing your heart, that was a big day for me.
You're
Oh
just
my
like everyone gets this.
Yeah. He wasn't telling me something I didn't know. One of the things that made it possible to survive having Duncan in our class was the fact that he was out of school so often. We all knew his older brother wrote his excuses for him, but none of us were about to tell. We weren't crazy enough to do something that would put Duncan in our classroom any more often than necessary. Besides, if one of us told and Duncan found out who did it, he would massacre that person. As written. I did not ad-lib that. But it might be useful to have him along, if I could be sure of one other thing.
Doesn't massacre mean more than one person?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't massacre a single person. That's just murder.
If I could be sure of
You
one
tell that
other
to Duncan
thing.
Dougal, all right?
Can you go someplace with Peter without picking on him? I asked. Sure, said Duncan. I like Peter. I looked at him. To my astonishment, he looked like he really meant it. I shook my head. What can you say to someone like that?
It's like the most honest thing this whole book.
All right, I
God.
said. You go do whatever it is you do when you skip school. I'm going to sneak out of the building at 9:15. I want you to meet me at the Comer corner of Pine and Parker.
Meet me at the Comer.
You'll need a bike.
Also, it popped in my head, like 6th grade, her saying, "You do whatever it is you do when you skip school." I just thought of Duncan saying, like, "Masturbate."
Yeah! Yes! Gonna use that peanut butter.
So you're at the end of the chapter. Just read the first page of the next chapter.
Okay, cool. I thought about telling him not to steal it, but decided that might seem too insulting. Duncan nodded his head. Where are we going? He asked. I looked him right in the eye and said, Peter and I are going to break into Mr. Smith's house and take pictures of the force field where he's holding Ms. Swartz prisoner. I've been training for that. I've been saying Ms. all day.
You know what the best part is? It still sounded as awkward as when we do
You
it.
can't, yeah,
There's
Ms.
literally-
Swartz.
there's
Does not flow.
There's no way to say that out loud without being like... My favorite part of that first episode was when you, Bekah, finally said it, and you were like, "I take it back, everything I just said."
Yeah,
mean
it was
about you
really
guys."
hard.
It was hard to say it.
It's an awkward
Do you
name.
think that's why they started pronouncing it Ms. instead of Miss? To try to differentiate from like a following S noise?
No.
No, because what if it was like Miss Simmons? I guess I just did it, didn't I?
Yeah.
That sounded like Miss to me.
That's what I said. Miss Simmons. Ms. Simmons.
Ms.
What point am I trying to make?
I don't know. I'm very confused.
When you do the zzz, I feel like you automatically add a zzz to whatever follows it if there's an S in it.
Yeah.
English.
You know, all words are made up.
Where was I? Okay, Ms. Schwartz. Ms. Schwartz, prisoner. I want you to stand outside and be our lookout in case Mr. Smith gets wise and comes back to stop us. I hesitated and then added, I hope you won't mind facing an alien death ray. I suppose that was a rotten thing to say, but the look on Duncan's face made it worth it. Next.
That was the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
Good one, Susan.
Chapter 15.
You hit it again.
I did.
There you go.
Hooky for 3.
What?
Bully for you. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Who'd have thought they'd be teaming up with Duncan Dougal? I hope he dies.
So many Poor Duncan Dougal. We
Shouldn't
hardly
they add
need-
Benoit to their crew? She's an explosives expert.
That's true. Then all they need is an acrobat.
A grease man.
Peter's their face man. I'm just thinking, I think it turns into a heist like bow 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 down down, like them getting into like Mr. Smith's house.
They run past a line of cold
Oh,
cuts.
shit.
Don't be distracted, guys.
Oh shit. Okay.
I was so nervous that I didn't even look at Mr. Smith when it was time for me to leave my lesson. Forgive me, Mr. Bamwick, I thought, as I headed away from his room towards the side door. Peeking out to make sure there was no one around, I sprinted to my bike, unlocked it, and headed out to the schoolyard as fast as I can. Duncan was waiting for me at the comer. Oh, no, comer. Okay. That masturbation thing's really paying off.
Oh boy.
Duncan was waiting for me at the comer of Pine and Parker, sitting on a blue 5-speed. Ooh, man.
Jealous?
Follow me, I said, and kept riding to the edge of town. I checked my watch. It had been 12 minutes since I left the class. If I could make it back just as fast, that would give me 16 minutes to take the pictures. Peter was waiting in front of the hedge at Broxholm's house. I could see his smile quickly turn to a frown when he saw who was with me.
What's he doing here? Demanded Peter. I was impressed. It took a lot of nerve for Peter to say that in front of Duncan. To my surprise, it was Duncan who tried to make peace. I just came to help, he said. He did say it kind of belligerently. but he was holding up his hands with the palms out to show that he meant peace. The universal sign of peace. He's going to be our lookout, I added, hoping that Peter would see the wisdom of this. He hesitated for a moment and then nodded. Okay, he said grudgingly. I guess you can stay. Duncan looked as pleased as a naughty puppy who had just been let back into the house.
What?
After doing what? What do you want me to do? He asked. Stand right here, I said, indicating a spot just inside the hedge where he could have a good view of the sidewalk. If you see Mr. Smith coming, run up the porch and pound on the door to give us a warning. Then run for your life! Duncan nodded seriously, but dumbly, and took his place. I looked at Peter. He gave me a nod, and we headed back. We headed for the back of the house.
I'm trying to nod dumbly. Okay, yeah, there we go. Very little, just all neck. Got it, all right.
To my relief, the broken lock was still where Peter had jammed it back in place after our last adventure here. I had figured that as a temporary tenant, Broxholm probably wouldn't keep that close an eye on things that needed repair around the place. It was nice to find out I had been right. We opened the door and headed back into the alien's lair. I felt a little more at ease this time, because it's my third time breaking in. And I knew the grounds well. After all, we could be pretty sure that Broxholm wouldn't stay at school. That Broxholm would stay at school. We knew exactly where we were going, and we had a lookout to keep us from being surprised. How could we go wrong? The answer to that question was even worse than I expected. For the first few minutes, everything went as smooth as could be. We made it out of the cellar and into the attic with time to spare. Nothing had changed. The column of blue light was still there, and poor Ms. Schwartz was still trapped right in the middle of it. I rushed over to it and placed my hands against the force field. Almost instantly, I could hear Ms. Schwartz's voice in my head. Hello, Susan. What are you doing here?
Oh.
We came to take some pictures of you so that we can prove what's going on, I thought back at her. Her reply scared me. Oh. Weren't you just here a few minutes ago? She asked. She sounded confused.
Oh, right.
I bit my lip. Was she all right? Of course. Since the thought was about her, Ms. Schwartz picked it up. I'm not sure, she responded. It's getting so very hard to think in here. She paused for a moment, then asked, what day is this? It's hard switching voices. It's Tuesday, I thought. Tuesday the 24th of May. Her reaction almost knocked me over. You must do something, she thought desperately. Oh, it's only 2 days until Brock's home is planning his pickup. Susan, you have to do something. I know, I replied. Her fear was coming through as clearly as her thoughts, and it was making me afraid too. Our conversation was interrupted by Peter. Susan, dollface, we can't just stand here and chat. We've got to get these pictures taken.
Oh. Chapter 16.
No.
Oh, wait, you went to the next one. I'm sorry.
Skipped ahead.
I did. I didn't mean it.
You're so fucking stupid.
I didn't do it right. I got to nod dumbly.
What
Hold
are you,
on.
Duncan?
Dumb Duncan. He was right, of course. Hang on, Miss Schwartz, I thought. We'll get you out of there somehow. Peter had already started flashing. Whew.
Zip.
What do you think of this, Miss Schwartz?
That's good, he said. Let me get a couple more of you standing next to her. Then move away from the force field so I can get some of Miss Schwartz just by herself.
Yeah,
I was
you're a star.
glad Peter was there. I might have gotten so wound up talking to Miss Schwartz. It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Ms. Schwartz, that I wouldn't have taken the pictures in time to get back to school. But he was working fast. In a few minutes, he had used up most of the roll, taking some pictures with flashes, some without, working from all different angles. I helped, and we did everything we could think of to make sure we got at least one good shot. We were just trying to figure out the last angle when we heard a terrible scream from downstairs. There's 4 of them. Ooh, I like the flair on that one.
Yeah. Give you a little pizzazz.
So loud.
I couldn't make much sense of the words, but I recognized the voice. It belonged to Duncan Dougal.
Do you know how old this slide whistle is, by the way?
I was just wondering, like, where the fuck did that even come from?
Do you know where this came from?
You working in art things?
Me working at museum company.
Did they sell that?
Yes, we sold a slide
How many
whistle.
people bought it?
Me. I don't. I
How
honestly.
much did it cost?
I probably stole it, if I'm being honest.
This will come in handy
All right.
during my podcasting years.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a very Jonathan thing to be like, a slide whistle, I'll use that for the rest of my life.
And you will.
But yeah, I probably bought this when I was like
You need a belt holster
16.
for it.
Oh, I do.
I have a mouth harp for the same exact reason. I'm just like, hey, you know,
She's like,
sure.
whatever
Just in
you,
case.
Just in case.
I had a mouth harp at one time.
Those are the days. Back when we were John.
Didn't you have a harmonica at some point?
Did I?
Are you Billy
Someone
Joel?
I dated did. It might not have been you. Now that I think about it.
I don't think I had a harmonica.
You dated
because
other people before Jonathan?
Well, I was just gonna say, actually, if I think I had a harmonica when I was a kid, but not by the time we met. I'm sure I didn't have one. I do, like, I have a ukulele. The thing with me is that I have instruments that I never know how to play because I'm just not musically inclined.
It's just nice to have instruments.
I wish I did. I wish I knew. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Play the harmonica.
There's a guitar on my wall. I don't know how to play the guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had an accordion for like 10 years before I was like, you know what? Fuck this.
Oh, I forgot about the accordion.
threw it
Oh
in
my
the trash.
god.
Angrily, get out of here.
I think I threw it away because I was like, I'll never learn it.
It's too many
You'll
buttons.
never be good
I thought
enough.
you gave it
Stick
away.
with the slide whistle. I know this. It's one thing.
I learned one song on that ukulele, then put it back down again. Because that was hard enough, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not learning anything
I thought you were
else.
going to keep learning, and then you're like, I'm done
No,
forever.
I was done. It was hard enough to learn one song with 3 chords.
You know
that
what?
I was like, I'm finished.
We know plenty of musicians. We don't need to do it. We don't need to learn how to do it. This
We
is-
outsource.
You know
Yeah.
we do this.
I got enough pandemic hobbies
Yeah.
under my belt.
I know what I'm good at, and what I'm good at is not making music, it's making funnies. Chapter 16! Duncan's disaster. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Duncan fucking Dougal.
Peter looked at me. I looked at him. We looked at each other. Then we looked at Ms. Schwartz. She looked back at us.
Oh.
Peter looked at me. Okay, I'll keep going. I wondered if he was as terrified as he looked, because he looked pretty fucking terrified. I wondered if I looked as terrified as I felt. I wondered a lot of things. What is he doing in here? I whispered. And what's happening to him? Hissed Peter. And what are we going to do about it? I thought. We hesitated for only a second, but it did feel like a lifetime, and then began to creep down the stairwell. Duncan was still screaming. Oh, was it Duncan screaming?
Yeah.
Did I miss that part?
It came after the screams. They were like, if he screamed, and then it was Duncan Dougal.
Okay. Duncan was still screaming. We had left the door to the attic open in case we needed to make a quick getaway.
Into the
Into
room
the
with
attic or
force field
out
lady.
of the attic? Yeah, like...
Did they hide their bikes?
I don't know.
I don't know. Poking my head around the edge, I looked in the direction of the screams. They were coming from the room where Mr. Smith sat to take off his mask every night. I reached for Peter's hand. What should we do? What should we do? I mouthed to him.
He pointed down the hall and started off with me close behind. After a couple of steps, we dropped to our bellies and slid up to the door and peeked around the edge. I couldn't believe it. Duncan was all alone. He was standing in front of the mirror, screaming for all he was worth. I couldn't say that I blamed him. The communicator was on, and Duncan was looking into the bridge of Broxholm's starship. And one of those hideous aliens from the ship was looking back at him, talking to him in that language of growls and shrieks.
What didn't be our lookout did Duncan understand? Like, why is he inside? He dumb.
He dumb.
That dumb nod.
Yeah, he was like, "Ooh, go inside when I want, okay?"
George? Which way did he go?
Yeah. I took a deep breath and slithered into the room, crawling across the floor as fast as I could move. I scooted right under the table and hit the switch I'd seen Broxholm use to turn the set off. It made a crackling noise and then fell silent. Duncan stopped screaming. "You idiot!" yelled Peter, jumping into the room. "What are you doing in here?" "I got bored," sniveled Duncan.
Jesus Christ.
Talk about a short attention span.
This is why you don't bring idiots.
He couldn't have been out there for more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Watching you, like, cock that thing, you were, like, ready to go. I was,
What is that?
What
is
is
that a
that?
picture that didn't download?
Oh, no, I don't know.
There's,
What
like,
is that?
Oh, shit. It's like a weird symbol. There's probably
Was
one
that
of
for,
the illustrations that didn't
was
download
he out there
or
for
something.
5 minutes, he said?
Yeah, he got bored, so he came in and turned on the alien
He was
TV.
like, I already masturbated 10 times.
And I wanted to see if you were telling the truth or not, he continued. So I went around the house and came in. So I went around the house and came in through the cellar. This was the only room with anything in it, so I came in. When I touched the switch, that thing showed up and started growling at me. Duncan was blubbering now, with big tears cutting clean paths down his dirty face. He turned to me and said, "Is that what Mr. Smith really looks like?"
Oh my god.
I nodded my head. Duncan's eyes rolled
Duncan,
back in his head
My
and
sweet summer
fainted.
child. He fainted!
Duncan.
Duncan, you dipshit.
By the time we got him on his feet and out of the house, I only had 10 minutes to get back to school. "Maybe I shouldn't go back," I said. Peter shook his head. "You have to."
Maybe
he
I
said.
should never go back.
We can't afford to be more suspicious than we already
Go
are.
to the streets now.
Anyway, I don't think the aliens actually saw you. At least not your face. You stayed down low enough.
Like a snake.
Like an alien.
Skip ahead again. I already flipped the page.
I just... No, you didn't.
Shut up.
Don't be coming to me.
You're so fucking dumb.
I snorted.
What about me? Blubbered Duncan. What about me? Peter hesitated.
What about you?
What about you, you bitch? You'll have to hide out at my house, he said. It's the last place anyone would think to look for you, you big goof. If you stay there, you may be safe. Get going, Susan. You've got to get back to school as soon as possible. Don't worry about the pictures. I'll take care of that. Just move.
When the fuck did Peter become like
He's
a
like an
hard
action
boiled,
hero.
like hard ass? I got
Last
this under
episode.
control, doll. What?
He became that the last episode.
I know, but it wasn't earned.
Damn you, Peter. I hopped on my bike and headed for school. By riding extra hard, I got there just about the time my lesson was supposed to be ending. But I was all hot and sweaty when I sneaked back in. Even worse, I ran into Mr. Bamwick the moment I walked through the door.
Not Bam Boom.
Bam Boom Bamwick. He was furious. Susan, where have you been? He shouted. I've spent the last 40 minutes waiting for you. I've got a concert in 2 days, and my star soloist can't even show up for her lesson. I did the only thing I could think of. I started to cry.
I thought you should just start playing the piccolo.
And she nails that solo.
I can't stay mad at you, Susan.
It wasn't hard to do, since I was on the edge of tears anyway. I'm so sorry, Mr. Bamwick, I sobbed. I'm just so frightened, and I couldn't come to my lesson.
I thought you were going to go, heavens to Murgatroyd.
Wow. So far, so good. I was actually managing to tell him something that was pretty close to the truth. Bully for me. But then I felt bad. Because Mr. Bamwick, who really is a good guy, got upset about scaring me and started apologizing for putting me under so much pressure. In the end, it worked out better than I could have imagined. Mr. Bamwick went to Mr. Smith and explained that there had been a problem with my lesson. And since we had this important concert coming up, would it be possible for him to keep me for a little while longer, and so on, etc.? It was great. I had a real excuse, and I even got to work on my solo, even though I'm a pretty good piccolo player. Back in class, things were pretty quiet until just before the end of the day when Mike Foran started throwing spitballs at Stacy. I wondered if the two of them weren't actually enjoying themselves. After all, they had been so well behaved for the last several years that maybe this was the perfect chance for them to let off a little steam. But it wasn't Stacy and Michael who were asked. But it wasn't Stacy and Michael who were asked to stay after school that day. No. Sorry, I was gonna read it, but then I was
Why
like,
didn't you?
well, you can do that in the next page.
Okay. No, that honor was reserved for yours truly. I was sitting at my desk thinking that maybe we had actually gotten away with our little photo session when Mr. Smith walked up to me and said, "Miss Simmons, I want you to stay after school. I need to talk to you."
Gasp!
It was amazing how two such simple sentences could teach me whole new levels of fear. Chapter 17.
So he's a good teacher.
Yeah.
Teacher conference. The other kids had left. I was alone with the alien. At least Stacy had lingered at the door for a few minutes until Mr. Smith turned to her and said, "It's time for you to go, Miss Benoit. I went to speak to Miss Simmons in private." Stacy
Miss Simmons. Isn't that what I said earlier?
It is what you said.
Her last name is Simmons?
Yeah.
I don't think I
Maybe
knew
it's stuck in your head from
Miss
before.
Susan Simmons.
Susan
Everybody's
Simmons.
alliterative here.
that. Subconscious, yeah. All right.
Stacy looked at me with an expression that said, "I tried." Then she hurried away. Broxholm/Smith walked over and straddled the chair in front of my desk.
Let's wrap.
Hello, fellow kids. He leaned toward me. "I know what you did today," he said. "Oh," was all I could manage. I felt as if someone had dropped an ice cube into my heart. The worst thing was, I couldn't even be sure what he meant. Did he know I skipped my piccolo lesson? Or did he know I had been inside his house? I looked at the door and wondered if I would ever go through it as a living person again.
So dramatic.
Ice cube in my heart.
I feel like I keep getting like the lamest pages of just like blah blah blah. Then I hand it over to you three, and you guys are like making poetry.
Well, said Broxholm. I'm sorry, I whispered. It was about all my voice was good for at that point. It was also just as vague as his first statement. I wasn't about to say what I was sorry for. Broxholm looked at me. I don't understand why you dislike me so much, Susan, he said. I'm just trying to do what is right for this class. Yet, you've been hostile to me from the moment I walked through the door.
I forgot he was Carrie Elwin.
Me too.
I was like, why are
I
you doing
forget
that?
every time.
I was like, why are you doing that voice? All right, he's
What an actor.
Dread Pirate Robert.
That's what it says. Though Carrie
What an
Elwes is a
actor.
good actor. I wondered if I would ever be that good. It was amazing how he was still pretending to be just a teacher who was having trouble with one of his students. Suddenly, he rose and crossed the room to close the door. Now, he said, sitting down in front of me again, let's be honest with each other, shall we, Miss Simmons? Should I say something? Should I tell him my newest secret? Why are you here anyway? I said at last, still playing his game of not saying anything that could be taken at least two ways. I'm here to learn.
Again, advanced thought for a 6th grader.
I'm here to learn, he said smoothly. After all, isn't that what school is for?
What if there's some sort of twist where he's not a real alien and these children have just been like breaking into and harassing this poor substitute teacher?
I kind
who
of thought-
just wants to eat cold cuts in peace.
I thought that's what it was going to be until she saw him pull his face off.
Yeah, that.
I mean-
Right, and their teacher is like in a forest.
Yeah, at first I thought maybe he actually was not the alien, but maybe the principal is.
Oh,
But unless the
Oh.
principal was imitating him and then also an alien underneath that layer, then that
Yeah.
wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Man.
What if you're right though?
I don't know.
I
We'll
bet,
see.
I bet he's secretly a good alien.
A good alien?
Yeah.
Yeah, that does seem to make sense. Like we're gonna do the old fakeroo.
Yeah. Like he is an alien, but
He likes you guys.
he's here
Yeah.
to save your planet.
He
We were
wants you
going
to
to
get
destroy the
A's.
Earth, but I really like cold cuts.
They're the best thing your species
Those
has invented.
Italians really got it right, didn't they?
Creep! I thought. But out loud I said, I thought you were supposed to be the teacher. I tried to keep my voice from cracking. But sorry. I thought you were supposed to be the teacher. I tried to keep my voice from cracking, but it did anyway.
He Travolta'd there for a little bit.
I thought you were supposed to be the teacher.
Broxholm shifted in his chair. A good teacher is always learning, he said. Education is a process of give and take. I have to take certain things in order to learn.
Like
Look at all I've
children.
taken from this class already. I've taken a lot of nonsense.
Oh.
I've taken a lot of snottiness.
Oh.
Suddenly, he turned and looked directly at me. And I'll have to take a few more things in order to learn all I can. If you take my meaning, Miss Simmons.
Damn.
I shrank back in terror. Ew. Oh, that's a...
Oh, hang on. Say it again.
Okay, I shrank back in terror. It's better every time.
It should have been the other way. Take two.
Okay.
No, I shrank back. It's like, whoop.
Oh, I thought it'd be like,
Okay, let's try it again.
Okay. I shrank back in terror.
Which one's better? Hey, you listening at home. Write to
Joanna.
P.O. Box, Broxholm.
Newport News, Virginia.
Podcast at cactusrodeo.com. Right? Is that it?
I don't know.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know anymore either. If you're listening, go to the fucking Facebook page or some shit and tell us what you think about which of those slide whistle noises was better for shrinking back in terror. I just want to do right by everyone.
And we'll re-upload with the proper edit after the fan,
Yeah, I'll definitely edit it later.
Definitely, 100%.
I'll totally, 100% I'll do that.
We have similar podcasting tendencies. It's like,
Yeah, definitely. You know how easy it is to just do that?
just chop and edit in, sure.
Well, also, it is really easy, but I'm so lazy.
Oh, no, yeah. Who's got the time?
And also, who gives a shit?
Boom. Are we doing it again?
No.
Okay, you're just prepared?
I'm just
okay.
ready.
I don't know how he did it. But that That was so loud. Like a loud yelping noise. Oh my god.
All right, how long did it take us to go off the rails?
There were rails?
The rails were the friends we made along the way.
What happened while I was in the bathroom?
Nothing.
Alrighty.
We got real punchy.
Okay.
That is, yeah.
That's literally all that happened.
Punching occurred, the slide whistle was involved.
That's all we
May
know.
or may
Mirth
not
was
have been
made.
a slide
Mirth.
whistle.
I don't know how he did it, but I could actually see his alien eyes beneath his mask, as if they were burning with a light all of their own. And I won't take kindly to enter into any interference with my educational mission, he said in a voice without any emotion. I put a lot of emotion in that
You
one.
did put quite a lot of emotion
Okay.
into it.
And I won't take kindly to any interference with my educational mission, he said in a voice without any emotion. He had picked up a copy of Rockets and Flags as he talked. The most patriotic book ever devised. Now he began to squeeze it. Ooh. I watched his fingers sink right into the cover, compressing the paper with the power of his grip.
Jesus Christ.
I think you might be the alien, Jonathan.
You know what, guys? I think I'm starting to agree with you. I heard a horrible thumping sound. Thump. I glanced around to see where it was coming from, then realized it was the beating of my own heart! The universe is a very big place, Susan. I'm not going to do Carriolas. I think it's funny to do the alien voice. Said Broxholm gently.
Broxholm's the alien. Mr. Smith is the Carrie Elwes.
True. True. Good one.
Oh my god.
Get a fucking grip,
What
John.
has happened to you?
I've
The last 5 minutes.
I've changed, Becca.
Right.
He dropped the book. Thump. His fingers had left dents half an inch deep into the cover. Fuck. If only I could get the book out of there, I would finally have proof of what
What
he
about
was.
all the fucking pictures they took?
What are the pictures, you dumb bitch? If you
Someone
read...
would look at that book and be like, why did you punch a bunch of holes in that book?
Yeah. But of course, he had no intentions of letting me have the book. He picked it up and carried it to his briefcase. A very big place indeed, he said. And there are more things going on in it than you can possibly imagine. It's important to learn all we can. Otherwise, terrible things can happen. Terrible things. Terrible things. That's my job. To prevent terrible things. Can you understand that, Miss Simmons? I shook my head, meaning no.
No, you cannot understand that?
Maybe I should say I shook my head harder, since I was already shaking all over. He sighed. Well, perhaps someday you will, he said. For now, I simply want to know that it is wisest and safest not to interfere with your elders. He closed the briefcase. I will see you tomorrow, Miss Simmons, he said. I trust that you will spend the entire day here in the classroom and not enter my home again. I almost fell out of my chair. He knew. He had known all along. Maybe I wasn't as good at breaking and entering as I thought I was. Before I could say anything, he went out the door, leaving me alone.
Chapter 18. It took me almost 20
What's the name
minutes
of
to
the
get... Oh, sorry. Chapter 18, Concert Concerns. I forgot that the chapter set title.
How alliterative.
Concert Concerns. It took me almost 20 minutes to get home. I cycled along the sidewalk slowly, watching every corner. I kept expecting aliens to leap out of the bushes and grab me. When something did jump out of the bushes, I screamed so high and loud. I was surprised I didn't break the glass in the street lamp overhead. But it was only Peter.
Me too.
Are you trying to give me a heart attack? I asked, straddling my bike and glaring at him. It would serve you right for bringing Duncan along today, he said. I wasn't up for a fight, and I said so.
I'm not up for a fight.
I'm not up for a fight. Peter was mad enough that he might have kept it going anyway. But
What is Peter's deal all of a sudden?
I don't know. What's the deal with the punctuation in this fucking book? But when I started to tell him what had happened after school, he got so interested he forgot about being angry. He insisted that I try to remember every word Broxholm had said.
Where's Duncan? I asked when I finished my story. Hiding in my closet, said Peter with a wicked grin. We called his folks, and he's going to spend the next couple of days at my house.
What?
Didn't they ask
Wait,
any
really?
questions?
What? Why?
Why?
Peter laughed.
I thought that was a joke.
Ha! If you were Duncan's mother, wouldn't you be glad to have him out of the house for a while?
Jesus.
All that masturbating.
Heart.
His closet's going to be gross. I didn't think that was very nice, but I let it pass. Will you be able to stand him until this is over? I asked. My problem is trying not to take advantage of him, Peter said sadly. It's not easy. I'd really love to get back at him for some of the things he's done to me, but he's so terrified I don't dare have any fun with him. I really think if I popped a bag near his ear, he would have a heart attack and die. I laughed in spite of myself. What about your father? I asked. Peter grimaced. He won't even notice Duncan is there, he said. By the way, I took the pictures to the drugstore. We can pick them up after school tomorrow.
Oh, right. I forgot that's how pictures used to work.
For the kids listening at home, there used to be a thing called film that had to be developed.
You used to have to take it to a CVS or some sort of local photo store.
And cross
Or a
your
photo
fingers
hut.
they didn't ruin the entire thing.
There were
1 hour photo. Remember that shit?
yeah. There were disposable cameras. The whole camera. You just throw it out again.
You throw the whole camera away.
You didn't need it no more.
Every time
We
you took
were
a
rich.
picture, you'd have to go. Click,
Rich, I tell you.
click.
Yeah.
You take another picture.
We can pick them up
Press
after
the flash
school
button
tomorrow.
again.
Yeah.
If we live that long, I said.
Relax, said Peter. Broxholm and his friends are here to collect people. I'd be really surprised if they actually kill anyone. That made me feel a little better.
So comforting.
But it was the thought that this whole mess might be. But it was the only thought. Wait.
What?
Was
Who?
only the
What?
thought that this whole mess might be over. Man. When we. This is. Okay, there's a period in the middle of this sentence that totally threw me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But it.
I don't know
Welcome
what
to
it is.
my world.
Blame Bruce.
Blame.
Blame Bruce. Sir Bruce Coville.
It's probably Kindle.
Or just Kindle.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not in the printed book like that.
Bruce, I have your back.
Call me.
Bruce, call me.
How well are we doing the characters' voices that you have pictured in your mind?
If an actual author listened to this show, like, that would be amazing.
You know, though, based on our track record, in a month, they're going to announce a fucking Bruce Coville Netflix series.
That'd be great. I'd watch that.
I'd watch it too. I'm just saying, based on our track record, we're fucking trendsetters.
Yeah.
No
They
one
did-
list to us.
They did
That's very
Babysitter's
true.
Club,
But,
they
like,
did Fear Street.
Yeah,
like-
exactly.
Blazing the
And
trail.
Goosebumps. I mean, the
Goosebumps.
movie.
They did a fucking
Goosebumps.
movie.
Man.
Ooh, maybe Sweet Valley High will have a revival.
Yes!
Jesus Christ.
Bring back the SVU.
Bring back the SVU! I'm in it!
I don't know if you've listened to our Sweet Valley episodes.
I've not listened to
Huey,
Sweet
but
Valley.
It is
Shit.
good shit.
You are in for an awful treat.
Well, the book's sitting right there. I can't remember if we've read that one
No,
or
that's
not.
the second one. That's
Okay,
what,
that's what we're reading
well,
next.
that's
It's called
Secrets?
Secrets. Like, it's so
So-
tempting. I want to read it so badly.
Spoiler alert, after the next Goosebumps that I'm going to release after this episode, the next book we're reading is Sweet Valley
I
High.
can't wait. Look, one's on the phone, and she's like, and
And
the
it's-
other one's looking at her, and she's like,
And it's called Secrets!
yeah.
I mean, it could.
Okay.
After dark.
Let's move on.
Okay.
We got to finish.
Let me
this
just edit out this period, and then I can read it normally. But it was only the thought that this whole mess might be might be over when we got the pictures that kept me from losing my mind that night. Even so, I was so frazzled, I couldn't think about anything else. By morning, I was such a wreck that my special session with Mr. Bamwick was a total disaster. Yeah.
Piccolo session. Get your mind out of the gutter.
All right.
The piccolo's not a gutter instrument, Jonathan.
Yeah, it only looks like a dick.
Well, penny whistle. I don't know if that's actually... If the penny whistle's a different instrument or if it's just one of those slang terms for the piccolo. Who's to know?
I've
never heard of the penny whistle.
Penny
I
whistle?
didn't know it had
The
a
penny
slang
whistle?
term.
I don't know. I'm not a piccolist.
Sounds like this.
It's
Please
like the
stop.
trombone penny whistle. The penny trombone.
Okay, you gotta keep. I'm
sorry.
No.
We're getting...
No, yeah.
I think it's a different thing.
It's my
Okay.
fault. This is my fault.
It has many names, though.
Oh, okay.
It's also called the
Flesh flute.
flagiolette.
What? What?
Flagiolette.
What?
Flagiolette.
I'm sorry.
Flagiolette. Let's move on.
Okay.
That killed me. That killed me.
Okay.
Yeah, piccolo's like a teeny tiny flute, and the penny whistle looks like a metal recorder.
Okay.
basically.
All right. Damn.
It's still ridiculous for her to be like, I'm so fucking important because I played the piccolo.
The pick-elite. Okay. Total disaster. No, he kept yelling. It's B-flat, Susan. B-flat. Well, I can't get it right if you keep screaming at me, I said, trying not to cry. I couldn't blame poor Mr. Bamwick.
Jesus.
Mr. Bamwick has a bad track record at this point. The concert was only a day away, and I was getting worse by the minute. But I just couldn't concentrate on the music. How could I, when I knew what else was supposed to happen? Could you play the piccolo if you knew some of your friends, or maybe even you, were about to be kidnapped by aliens? I couldn't play the piccolo in general.
I can't play the piccolo.
Susan! Aren't you worried? I asked Peter that afternoon on the playground. Not really, he said, his pale face split into a wide grin. I told you, I got an alternate plan. This kid, man, he's so hardcore.
He is hard.
Plans within plans.
Listen, Peter, I said, taking his arm. This isn't one of your science fiction books. This isn't John Carter of Mars. And you're not Buck Rogers. Don't get carried away. He shook my hand away angrily. The fuck off of me.
These are dated references, Susan.
This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in this town, he said. And don't you forget it, Susan. And don't you forget it is written in the book. I didn't add that. I just want you to know.
Oh my god.
At that point, Stacy and Mike went running by, yelling bad words at each other. Fuck you, you cunt! Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit! We started to laugh. I heard Stacy say that her mother is going nuts. I heard that Stacy say that her mother is going nuts, said Peter. I bet Mike's mother is too. I nodded. I almost felt sorry for them. It can't be easy to have a kid who hasn't been in trouble since kindergarten suddenly turn into a maniac. Of course, Stacy and Mike don't have much choice, I said. Sure they do, doll, said Peter. What do you mean by that? I asked, but he would answer me. Just watch, he said, and you'll figure it out soon enough, dum-dum.
Chapter 19. Peter's choice.
He's gonna kill a kid?
It's a real Peter's choice.
That afternoon, I finally began to understand Peter's alternate plan. Actually, it took me a little while to figure it out. I knew there was something strange going on when Peter, the kid who always knew the answer but never bothered to give it, started raising his hand for every question that came along. And suddenly it all came clear to me. Peter wanted to be picked by Broxholm. He had decided that this was his big chance to live the kind of science fiction adventure he had been dreaming about.
Oh, dip!
He figured if he really tried, he might just be able to make it from bright but unmotivated to being, without question, the best student in the class.
In the galaxy.
You could almost see the gleam in Broxholm's alien eyes when Peter unleashed his mighty brain.
My eyes rolled into the back of my head when you said bright but unmotivated. We were having a history lesson at the time, and Peter started to answer every question perfectly. Broxholm started asking harder questions, but Peter never blinked. He just kept reeling off the answers. Even I had no idea how smart that kid was. And as for Broxholm, I swear that alien must have memorized an encyclopedia, or maybe he had one transplanted into his head. Who knows what these people could do? When school was over, I dragged Peter off to the side of the playground. Are you crazy? I hissed. What are you doing? Plan B, said Peter. If we can't unmask Broxholm, I want to be one of the ones that go on the ship. Forget Plan B, I yelled. You don't know what they're going to do to you up there. They're bad. You don't know that, said Peter. They kidnapped Miss Schwartz. He shrugged. That still doesn't mean they're bad. They may be so far above us that they think of us like we think of ants or something. I didn't say a word.
Sounds pretty bad.
But he
Yeah,
could
I
tell
kill
by my
ants.
expression that I thought
I
that was
poisoned
stupid. Maybe they're scared of us, he continued.
No, Peter, no.
That made me laugh. I'm sorry. I'm serious, said Peter. Think of that conversation you had with him yesterday. I can't, I said. It still scares me. No, think about it, said Peter again. Maybe these people are really peaceful. Maybe they've seen how much we fight, and they're afraid if we get much further into space, we'll cause some huge war. You don't know that, I said stubbornly. Anyway, maybe we won't have to worry about it. Let's go to the drugstore and get our pictures. It took all our money for the pictures. I thought about explaining to the girl behind the counter that we were trying to stop an alien invasion, but I figured she probably wouldn't buy it. We forced ourselves not to open the envelope until we were in the park. You open it, I said, handing the envelope to Peter. He hesitated for a moment, then tore the envelope open and pulled out the pictures. His face fell. What is it? I asked.
Gasp.
No, go.
Without saying a word, he handed me the photos. My heart sank as I flipped through them. Peter had done a good job. The beams and timbers of the attic showed up perfectly. Lighting was great. Focus and exposure were fine.
Does it say that?
F-stop was good.
I can't be sure because this book's fucking insane.
I'm adding a little bit. But the force field with Ms. Schwartz in it had come out as nothing but a blue streak. That was all. Just a blue streak down the middle of each picture. It looked like a flaw in the film, or maybe some trick of the light. Dusty jumped up in my lap and scared me. Dusty. You couldn't see Ms. Schwartz at all. These aren't going to do us any good, I moaned. Peter nodded. I'm sorry, doll, he said. It's not your fault, I replied, but I knew he didn't believe me. I knew that he knew that it was his fault. By Thursday, the whole school seemed to be on the brink of a nervous breakdown. Stacy got caught drawing dirty pictures on the blackboard. She was drawing
dicks on the blackboard?
Stacy was drawing dicks, and she was doing that thing. You draw a dick, and it's just like jizzing stuff, and she was drawing all sorts of things like
Good old Dix Benoit.
she had she drew like the balls on the dick, like a lot of hair, and she put
right.
like veins on the dick. It was so dirty. Mike tried out a new word he had learned from his uncle, who was a sailor.
Ooh.
The word.
What do you think it is?
The word was definitely cunt.
Why?
Because the worst thing I can think of for a kid to say. From a sailor.
All right. I'm not arguing with you.
And Peter waved his hand like crazy every time Broxholm Smith asked a question. The ones who were really having a hard time were the kids in the middle. You know, the nobodies. See, by the time everyone was starting to believe the rumor about our teacher being an alien... Oh. I thought there was going to be like a comma after that, but there was a period. It was a badly done sentence.
What?
Everything's fine.
By this time, everyone was starting to believe the rumor. Okay. I think the fact that Peter and I knew it was true, combined with the fact that we weren't trying to convince them, was what really did convince them. They figured if it was... They figured if it was a joke, we'd be trying to fool them. Since we weren't, it had to be for real. Or something like that. He knows his writing's bad. Like, stop winking at it.
It really feels like at this point you're just like...
Just do better.
Go with it.
Anyway, the kids in the middle were going nuts because they knew Broxholm wanted the 3 most average kids in class. But what was an average kid? No one knew. So none of them knew how to behave to keep from getting kidnapped. Most of them just acted the same as usual, except that they were really nervous. Every time one of them answered a question, you had the feeling they were trying to decide whether they should answer it right or wrong. It was like they were asking themselves, will the right answer get me a one-way trip in an alien spaceship? I'll be glad when this is over, I said to Peter that afternoon during recess. Me too, he said. But I didn't like the... Oh, sorry. Me too, he said. But I didn't like the kind of dreamy way he said it. Aren't you scared? I demanded. I had to say it dreamily.
Me too.
I'm terrified, Toots. But that doesn't change my mind. School just got wackier as the day went on. By the time the last bell rang, I got the feeling every kid had heard there was supposed to be an alien invasion at the concert that night. If I wasn't so worried, it would have been funny.
It's pretty funny.
Did you hear about the invasion? Kids would say. Did you know that the aliens are coming tonight? I wanted to say, no, the aliens aren't invading. They're just coming to kidnap some of us. Although, for all I knew, the reason they wanted to study us was that so they could invade sometime in the future. Who knows what these people could do? I felt sorry for Mr. Bamwick. He had hoped to have the best spring concert ever. Now it was beginning to look as if it would be the biggest disaster of his career. I'm cutting the stars and stripes from the program. He told me that afternoon. He was trying to be nice about it, but I could tell that his
dialogue has been on my page.
But I could tell that he was really disappointed. I'm sorry, I said. I just couldn't get that trill.
Trill?
I guess it's a musical term. I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not a piccolist.
I just pickle things. I'm a picklist. No, it's not just you, said Mr. Bamwick sadly. The whole band is falling apart. I don't know what I've done wrong. How could I tell him that he hadn't done anything wrong? That his concert was just another casualty of the alien invasion? Chapter 20.
You can't. That's the answer.
Oh, okay. This chapter's title is Piccolo-Powered.
Oh my god.
The alien invasion rumors hid... Sorry, I just had to reboot for a second.
Yep.
Good lord.
Should have been had.
The alien invasion rumors had reached the adults, too, as I found out that night at dinner. My goodness, Susan, said my mother as she was dishing up my broccoli. I hope you don't believe any of this nonsense. Believe it, I thought. I started it. Oh, that's right. The mom talked like Mrs. Doubtfire? Or
Julia
Julie
Child.
Childs.
Okay.
That's our go-to
Every mom
voice.
in every book.
But I didn't say that. Instead, I put down my soup spoon and looked at her. What if I did believe it? I asked. I tried hard to sound like I was interested and not like I was challenging her. Well, I suppose we'd have to get you counseling, she said. I could have cried. Obviously, there was no point in asking my parents to help out with this mess. I went upstairs to get ready. Which ones will it be? I wondered as I slipped into my dress. Just who is the alien going to steal?
Gasp. I looked in the mirror and crossed my fingers, praying that it wouldn't be me. My parents drove me to the school. They dropped me off and went to find a parking place. I wonder how he's going to do it, I thought as I walked through the door. Will he just freeze everyone here on the spot? Will his ship use some sort of tractor beam to lift up his targets? Or will he wait until later when everyone is asleep and then sneak into their homes and snatch them? The school was fairly zinging with nervous energy. Zing!
Zings.
The rumors about the alien invasion had spread to all of the grades. The third graders were walking around in pairs, checking over their shoulders every other step. How old are you in third grade? Like 9?
Like 8?
Yeah.
Like
8?
8, 9? Okay. Idiots. If I hadn't been so scared myself, I would have left. I wanted to grab them and say, "Stop worrying! The alien's not after you!"
Oh my god, you scared Dusty.
Revenge.
"Hey, Susan," called Peter. "Wait up!" Peter was in the chorus. Really? The chorus was bigger than the band.
What?
Peter
What
was
kind
in
of
the
school
chorus.
is this?
I'm just picturing him singing like,
Almost every kid in the 6th grade was a member. They would be singing Last of All. Peter looked very nice. He had on a white shirt and a red tie. Yum. His pale blonde hair was slicked down. Row. "Is your father here?" I asked, trying to keep control of myself.
He just stared at me. "Are you kidding?" he asked. We walked on until we came to a private place. "What are we going to do?" I asked.
Bet you did.
Peter shrugged. "What can we do? Keep our eyes open. Be ready to call for help when there's something we can prove. Other than that, I can't think of anything. Is Brock's home here?" I nodded. All the teachers had to come to the concert to keep us under control while we were waiting to perform. Because you're zoo animals. I figured Brock's home wasn't ready to blow his cover just yet. Peter glanced at his watch. "We'd better get into the gym," he said. "No sense in getting in any more trouble than we have to." The gym was where we had to wait our turn to perform. That's weird, because you should be waiting backstage. The auditorium. It was across the hall from the combination cafeteria and auditorium where we put on our concerts. The third grade... Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had that in elementary school.
Yeah.
I can't remember middle school. The third grade chorus was about to go on when Peter and I walked in. "Get over here, you two," hissed Miss Tompkins, the world's oldest living 5th grade teacher. "They're ready to start." As we walked across the gym, I heard the 3rd grade chorus begin to sing. They had only gotten through about 3 notes when the music stopped. 3 notes?
I grabbed Peter's arm. Had it started? Not actually, as it turned out. Cindy Farkas had fainted. The chorus teacher, Miss Binkin, stopped the program while 2 parents helped Cindy out. Then the singing
Why aren't
began
any of these
again.
people married? And none of these women are married. It's all like Miss and Ms.
False alarm, said Peter with a grin. I nodded, but I didn't feel like smiling. Suddenly, I heard a familiar voice. "Band members! Band members! Over this way!" Oh, no, sorry, wrong voice. Band members, over this way. It was Mr. Smith. He was standing at the far end of the cafeteria, holding up his hand. "Band members, over here," he shouted. "We're going down to the primary wing. Mr. Bamwick wants you to meet there to tune up." "You can bet Broxholm won't stick around for that, not the way he hates music," said Peter.
He does hate music.
Well, that gave me an idea. I might not have done it. I might not have done it if I hadn't been feeling so crabby. But between the fact that we hadn't figured out any way to stop Broxholm from kidnapping some of our class and the fact that he was still holding the best teacher I ever had prisoner, I was pretty mad. This fucker was gonna get it. I decided if I couldn't beat the alien, I'd settle for annoying him.
Hell yeah. What is that?
I call that
It's the most
Jonathan
lovely can.
method.
It's called pool hopping. Deck beer.
I
It
love
is
it.
a very pretty color.
I had a thing I was going to say, and then I forgot it immediately as I thought of it.
Oh,
It was just
no.
like, it edited itself
was
out
like,
as I was like, okay, great. So before we started down the hall, I took my piccolo out of its case and I put it together. Most of the other kids already had their instruments ready. Everybody was
Like a
nervous.
sniper.
That's what it's like, though, with those instruments.
Like a sniper, except she was like,
Everybody was nervous. And it wasn't just the pre-concert jitters. About half the band was made up of 6th graders. They were the most frightened, of course, especially the ones from our class. "All right, follow me," said Broxholm as he started down the hall. Holding my piccolo behind my back, I positioned myself at the front of the group. When we got to the halfway down the hall, I started to play a scale. "Stop that!" said Broxholm before I had played 3 notes.
boy.
"Just practicing," I said.
3 notes again. Is it like 4 notes and his brain explodes?
Just warming up, you know.
Or like 4 notes and he shits himself. Like, his
Like
anus
that.
is in the top of his head because he's an alien.
Ew. That's a stretch.
So he starts like crying alien shit through his
Ew.
mask.
Ew. Why?
Gross.
You look absolutely defiant with
guessing.
your facts here. You're
just
like,
guessing
that's
here."
just how aliens work.
Yeah,
back
you
then.
know, obviously,
do.
Bekah,
We
that's
try
how
to guess
alien shit
what
out their
happens at the end
eyes.
of the book.
And they only shit when they hear music.
The Shikolo. Oh my god. 3 notes, just okay. "Well, don't!" he snapped. I had never heard him sound so cranky before. I must have really gotten to him. I began to wonder if I could break through his false front, get him to show himself for what he really was. I put the piccolo to my lips and began to play again. "Miss Simmons, stop that!" he ordered again. But this time, I didn't stop.
Oh, shit.
What? Looks like we got ourselves a badass.
"Please," he said, clasping his hands over his ears. "Miss Simmons." This is Mr. Smith, right?
Yeah.
"Miss Simmons, please stop." I couldn't believe it. He was in agony. I began to play louder. "Do, do, do, do!" "Susan!" he howled, bending over. "Stop!" I took the piccolo away from my lips for just an instant. "Not on your life. Broxholm!" Then I started to play again. The best piccolo music I knew. The solo from the Stars and Stripes Forever. "Stop it!" shouted Broxholm, stumbling down the hall ahead of me. "Stop! Stop! Stop! Help me, you guys!" I said. That was a big mistake. Okay. As soon as I took a pause from playing, Broxholm spun around and snatched my piccolo. But I pulled it back to safety before he could tear it from my hands, so everything's fine. "Take this, you alien creep!" I cried, and then I trailed him with a high C. Doot! He backed away, holding his hands to his ears. I went back to the Stars and Stripes, starting at the beginning. "Doo doo doo doo!" I heard Mike.
We really
Forward.
need the side whistle for this.
Here. I believe in you.
It's your time to shine.
I
Bekah.
believe in you, Bekah. Okay, wait. I went back to the Stars and Stripes, starting at the beginning. I heard Mike Foran join me on his saxophone. You're blocking the thing. There you go. Okay. Then Billy Gooch.
The Goochster!
Come on.
Billy Gooch, aka the Gooch.
Say that?
No.
Oh.
Brought in the trumpet. We advanced on Broxholm, playing For All We Were Worth.
I just imagine,
Did they march towards him?
like blasting Scott, this teacher.
It's all wind instruments.
Gooch is just.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
shit.
Oh my god. He retreated down the hall, his handsome face twisted with pain. Now the clarinets were coming in. And the rest of the trumpets. Then came the drums. All right. And finally, deep and low and powerful, the sousaphone. We sounded fantastic. Mr. Bamwick came running out of the room.
What the fuck is a sousaphone?
It's like a tuba.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
Mr. Bamwick came running out of the room where he had been waiting for us. They're playing it, he cried in joy. They're playing it. But now I heard Dr. Bleakman charging down the hall behind us. What's going on out here? He roared. Smith, Bamwick, can't you keep those kids under control? I wish that you were reading this because of Mr. Bamwick. We can switch. Here. You read? You read the second half of this page so you can do some Bamwick.
They're playing it! Cried Mr. Bamwick joyfully. 7 years I've been waiting for this! Stop that, roared Bleakman. No! cried Bamwick. Don't stop now! Let me hear it! We couldn't stop. We were on a roll. We had never sounded so good. And Broxholm was crumbling before us. Stop, he pleaded. Stop, stop. Adults were crowding around the auditorium into the hall. What's going on? They shouted. What's happening out there? Do you want to read? Oh, yeah, okay.
We reached the big finale. I played that trill like I had never played it before. We kept advancing on Broxholm. Soon the new Kennetuck Falls Elementary School marching band had the alien cowering in a corner. What do you want? He pleaded. I didn't dare stop playing. I knew my piccolo was keeping him at bay, but Mike stepped in. Take off your mask, he shouted. Your mask, cried the others. Take off your mask. Anything, said Broxholm. Just stop that noise. First your mask, cried the band. Even Dr. Bleakman could see that there was something weird about his favorite teacher now. He waited in silence. I played my trill again. Broxholm reached behind his head and began to peel off his face.
Gross.
Behind us, people started to scream. Someone cried, "What is it? What is happening?" "Oh my God!" yelled someone else. "It's Mr. Smith! He's an alien!"
Oh,
There's a picture.
there's a picture.
Oh! Bekah, describe it.
Oh my God. Okay, so in the middle, there's a man there's a man peeling his face off. In the upper left, there's a girl in a top hat aggressively playing piccolo. And in the foreground is a balding man pointing at the alien. She looks like she's wearing a top hat, and I don't know what the fuck is happening in the bottom right corner.
Maybe it's one of those band hats.
That's like a person's that's like a lady's hair.
Oh, that's the back of someone's head.
Oh my God!
Yeah, she's got a little top hat.
She's
on.
wearing a top hat.
And she's like,
And she's like,
with the piccolo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
It's
yeah.
a band outfit.
oh, she's in the band.
Yeah.
I was in a band.
We had to wear shitty outfits. We had to wear like cummerbunds for
Cummer-
our
Oh, yeah.
recitals. Yeah.
Dude, if you look at the way like marching band outfits look like, they look like Captain EO costumes. It's unreal what they make these kids wear.
It's humiliating.
Oh man.
Captain EO also fought aliens with song.
Oh my God! Full circle.
I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
It was an attraction at Disney World,
Starring
Okay.
Michael Jackson.
Okay.
It was very strange.
and it cost millions of dollars. And it was the first example of 4D entertainment.
Wow. All three of you know a lot about this.
All
For
I
me to
know-
I saw it, yeah.
zero.
Okay. All I know is Michael Jackson. I don't know shit about 4D.
Did you see
Yeah.
it?
4D?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Never
does
been
4D
to
mean?
Disney.
It would shoot
Where
stuff
the,
at
yeah,
you.
but, like effects were
Is that
in
like
the
when
theater.
you're in the chair and like the thing
Well,
moves
like the
around?
chair didn't move,
Doesn't
but like
4D mean
it
time
had
travel?
it had it had like effects in the theater.
Yeah.
I feel like you're
get sprayed
accusing
with
me of
water.
this.
And apparently it was
Doesn't 4D
super.
mean
It was like a
time travel?
ridiculous amount of money to make it. And fun fact about that attraction, we never told our neighbors we were going to Disney World. Like our very next door neighbors, we're in the theater at Disney World watching Captain EO,
And
and
you're
right next to us was our next door neighbors.
Dude,
That's crazy.
What a world.
It's a simulation.
I need to take a quick. I know you.
And
like,
Angelica Houston was there.
we're trying to move through it, but there's a
no.
brief aside.
This is a great moment to pause. Right in
Based
the middle
on
of climax.
it's a chapter change, so this is good.
Yeah.
But the 3D 4D baby thing from
Yeah.
the first. I've been singing that to myself constantly.
3D baby.
And I looked it up, and I now know what that means.
The 3D 4D
Yeah,
baby?
I got
need to
wrapped
look
up
it
in
up.
this.
Oh, shit.
See, Brian's email that he sent us with the file said my 3D 4D baby. So when I look at my emails, I keep seeing it,
Yeah,
and it
same.
gets put in my head
Same.
again. It's like, son of a bitch.
Oh, also, for the listener at home, it was Old Spice.
Old Spice.
It was
Oh,
Old
yeah.
Spice, yes.
Did we not say that last time?
No, we
No.
didn't.
Oh, shit. It was Old Spice.
But I went and looked that up. It's this new business that's cropped up where they will take video of your ultrasound, and that's the 4D element of your baby. So your 3D is just an ultrasound of your baby in 3D, but if you want 4D, the baby will move,
Ew.
and that's the 4D baby.
3D pictures are already so horrifying
It's
looking.
insane. They look like
it looks
little
so
monsters.
upsetting.
They all look like they're
I'd
whispering,
rather
like,
just see the
really
shitty
Yeah.
ultrasound flat picture.
That's
the
enough for
3D
me.
things are all like
They're like-
fluffy. They look like potatoes.
Oh,
It's
man.
so disgusting.
It looks like you're in the Mutter Museum.
oh my god.
Uh,
Just a little abomination.
Good
Anyway.
Philly reference.
Okay, chapter 21. Out of this world.
Oh, shit.
I thought it was over, but I was wrong. Brock's home was still crouched against the wall, about 2 feet from the doors to the outside. The rest of us were about 10 feet away from him, staring in horror at his strange alien features.
Gross.
Suddenly, the door to the left of Brock's home opened. It was Peter. He must have run out of the front doors and circled around. Brock's home, he shouted. Come with me if you want to live. This way, run! The alien jumped to his feet and took off as if he had rocket-powered roller skates. As soon as he was through the door, Peter slammed it shut. The rest of us started to run too. Then Brock's home pulled something that looked like a thick pencil out of his pocket. Oh my. Brock's home.
Yikes.
Gross.
Brock's home. Not in the Me Too era.
Oh man. He pointed it at the doors and fried them shut. Fried door.
I'd eat that. I started to tremble. He could have pointed that thing at me if he had really wanted to. He probably could have melted my piccolo to my lips. Maybe old Broxholm wasn't so bad after all, I thought, as I stood with my face pressed against the window. Why? Watching the alien and my best friend disappear into the night. My best friend, I thought in surprise. I'm glad I'm not the only one who's surprised by that.
I just don't think that's super important at the moment.
But I knew, but I knew was true. But I knew was true. But I knew was true.
Follow your nose.
Keep going.
Follow
You got
your
this.
nose.
For a second, I thought I was the one who was wrong. But it's not me. It was the book. But I knew was true. Peter was my best friend. And now he was gone. Someone had called the police. Pretty soon, their cruisers came screeching to the schoolyard. My mother was flapping her hands and worrying that I might have some alien disease. With all the yelling and shouting, it took the police a while to figure things out. But soon, they put me in a patrol car and we hightailed it out to Broxholm's place. We were only...
So the guy was an alien? Yeah, we see this all the time.
Oh, so a sixth grader said the teacher was an alien?
Pulled his face
Yeah.
off, bothered by
Pulled his face
piccolos.
off.
Yeah.
Classic
Yeah.
alien.
Why would they
Classic-
take the child with them?
Classic alien. Let's take you to the scene of the crime.
Pocket fry tube, yeah.
Yeah, pocket fried. Yeah, he pulled the thing out of
She's
his
the one that knows
pocket.
how to break into it. So.
Yeah.
We were only a block from his house when we heard a roar, followed by a high whine.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. I don't know where the high note is.
The high note's up here, and the low note's down there.
Hold on, I got it. Say it again.
Okay. We were only a block from his house when we heard a roar. A roar. Followed by a high whine. Then this...
Did I do a good job?
It's Sonic Ambrosia.
Was it worth it?
You did so good. You did so good. I'm so proud.
glad.
Oh man, I missed the whoopee cushion.
Then this thing, this beautiful, huge, silvery sphere with a wheel of lights spinning around it, lifted into the air around, air ahead of us. Stop the car! I said. Peter.
I don't know why, but they did. Probably because the ship was so amazing. I pushed my way past the policeman on my right and stood in the road, watching the ship rise on a column of purple light into the black night. Goodbye, Peter, I whispered. Have a good trip. I felt as if something hard had become stuck in my throat as I watched the ship soar higher and higher until it was lost among the twinkling of the stars. The police sealed off the house just in case there were any aliens left inside. When they finally decided it was safe,
Just cold cuts.
I took them to see where Ms. Schwartz had been held prisoner. I was afraid Broxel might have taken her along, but when we climbed into the attic, we found her sitting on the floor saying, "This is the worst headache I've ever had!" Ms. Schwartz, I cried. I ran to her. She held out her arms and I fell into them. The two of us cried for a long time, which I think kind of confused the policeman. The rest of the house... I'm not adding anything. The rest of the house was empty, except for
the cold cuts.
Except for a note from Peter we found stuck to the refrigerator door. Sorry. I was trying to look and see how much we had left, but I don't know. It's not telling me. Usually it says in the bottom.
Yeah, it hasn't said in a while, but
so
yeah.
it found a note from Peter on the fridge, the cold cut fridge.
The cold cut fridge.
He asked us not to worry and said that he would probably come back again someday. And that was that. Things are back to normal now, at least as normal as they ever got
Except
around
for Peter's
here.
parent, also singular.
Duncan has been picking on everyone he can. Mike and Stacy have regained their angelic reputations, though to tell you the truth, I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to get into a little mischief now and then just for the fun of it. And by that I mean necking in the corner.
Woo!
As for me, I'm doing fine, except when I play my piccolo. That's when I think of Peter.
Why? She'd think of Broxholm. She almost murdered him with it.
Sometimes I go outside at night to look at the stars. I try not to think about how far away Peter is. I only remember how much he wanted to go there. I do wonder where he is and if he is seeing all the wonderful things he used to imagine when he was reading those crazy science fiction novels. Of course, I never really wish I had gone with him. After all, I've got a family that loves me.
Oh my god!
That's what it says. I like my life here on Earth. His fucking sucked. But I wonder sometimes what it would be like to travel the stars with aliens. Or maybe with Earthlings. I've been studying my math pretty hard lately. I've kind of changed my mind about being an actress. You want me to just finish that? Or?
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe I'll be a scientist when I grow up. I'd like to invent a ship that would take us right out of the solar system, out to explore all those distant stars that fill the sky at night. Worlds where we would be the mysterious aliens. Wouldn't that be something? And there's a picture of the ship. It's your stereotypical flying saucer for the reader at home.
There it is.
Done in, I imagine, pencil or charcoal maybe.
Is that the end?
And that is the end.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Broxholm will return in My Teacher Books, Book 2. My Teacher Fried My Brains.
Oh, damn.
That's a bummer.
While you were reading that whole thing about her looking into the night sky, I just thought of Morgan Freeman saying, "I just miss my friend."
I was thinking the same thing. That was all very much.
Broxholm was from the planet. See what to name.
I'm so glad that we were on the same page. Well, Jesus Christ.
What a
That was a
cliffhanger
ride.
ending.
What a ride.
Yeah.
What a thing.
So we still don't know why they wanted kids.
No.
But really, they could have just asked for volunteers and some nerds would have just gone.
This kid was 100% into it. So
unloved nerds would have been like, I'll just
Yeah.
I would have gone.
They
Sure.
could have just like found the D&D like group at school and been like, who wants to
Or,
go
like,
to space? They
children
would've been
from broken homes,
We'll go
apparently.
to space.
Oh yeah,
Have
like,
nothing on Earth worth living for.
Who here only has one parent?
Yeah.
You only got one
Just come
one
right
parent?
up. Yeah.
One singular parent? Come to space with me.
And they could do like a Christopher Lloyd and Camp Nowhere thing, like have the teacher alien thing be like, oh no, this is for a computer camp. We're taking them to computer camp.
I don't know what Camp Nowhere is.
Camp
Oh,
Nowhere's
man.
a great movie.
It is a good movie.
Well,
I'm sure one of
Well,
our 5
I'll be the
listeners.
judge of that.
Well, that was such an ambiguous ending because
it really was pretty
It's
I
okay.
guess
anticlimactic.
no
Yeah.
kids got kidnapped, so that's good. But then
Did it
Peter
literally-
went up there and the alien got away,
Did it-
so
did
that's
it
not great.
Say like whatever. Will James Bond will return? Was that?
Well, no, but it did say like read the next one. Or...
Okay, so he was already
So
writing
this
the
is
next
part of a
one.
series.
And it's a 4-book series.
Yes, there's 4 of them.
It's fried my brain. I Flunked the Planet's the last one, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's the next one's Fried My Brains. I can't remember what the third one is, but I think My Teacher Flunked the Planet is the 4th one.
Well, if there's only 4 of these, then we're definitely going to get to all 4 of them at some point.
I
There's
mean, I
one
kind
called
of
My
want to
Teacher
buy.
Glows in the Dark, and another one called Aliens Ate My Homework, but I don't know if it's the same
I kind of
world.
want to read
Yeah.
the rest of them on my own.
Go right ahead.
Relive my childhood.
And then when we read them on the show, you'll be like, wait till you see what happens next.
Oh man, this part's really good.
That's great. You guys are going to be blown away. I think it was I had fun.
Yeah.
I had
totally.
fun. I'm glad that it was, I feel like I kind of called it a while ago with the whole like Mars Attacks music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like frying the brain of the alien thing. So I'm happy that came
You're
back.
such a good guesser.
No, I'm happy that I called it because every time I call it, whenever I'm like, it's a werewolf, it's not. I'm wrong all the time.
She was dead the whole time.
She was dead the whole time. Nope.
It's usually something like not even like the opposite. It's just
something dumb.
You're just so completely wrong. Like you're never even close.
I swing for the fences for this. You know what? I'd rather be spectacularly wrong than just like mediocre wrong. I'd rather either be like spectacularly wrong or like nailed it, and I have no interest in anything in between. I'm like the 3 middle kids that Broxham was gonna abduct, or not the 3. I'm like the 2 on the other opposite. Yeah. I don't have any interest in being an average kid. I'm either gonna be awful
All right, we get the
or
point.
the best.
You said it like 4 times now.
I could do another analogy.
You get the
if you
gist
get...
out.
Do you get it?
Yes. I don't know what to say now.
Okay.
That reminds me of the end of what was that? Pop Star. It's like, so we're all Tom Petty, but together we're all Tom Petty. No, we're the Heartbreakers when we're together. I'm not sure I'm getting this. It's just...
Well, what did you think, Huey?
I thought again, it does sort of peter out. Like there's no real climax.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Peters out like a slide whistle.
Well, I was just gonna say like, no pun intended because his name is Peter.
And
But
he outed.
and he did
Peter
out.
out.
Get out.
Yeah, he did. He was like Peter out, and he flew on spaceship.
Fuck off her.
It really did Peter out.
Yeah.
Because they were like, we got you, and then it's just kind of like,
And then he ran off and like there was no...
there's no end.
I wonder if he brought any books to space, or if
you
he's
im-
like, I won't need books because I'll be like in space.
space.
Living my space adventure.
Can you
life
imagine being the cops that are like, well, here's an empty house
with a lady in the
with
attic.
a lady in it.
There's an alarming amount of cold
Like
cuts.
a missing, it's like a missing person in the attic and a bunch of cold cuts in the fridge, but there's really no evidence to suggest an alien was here, except for the thing. I guess they saw a UFO, but also like, wouldn't the government like show up and be like, you didn't see anything?
Well,
Maybe that's the second one.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we'll find out the aftermath in the
Ah.
next book.
I wonder if
Alright.
the one cop said to the other, like, see, Gary, I told you, they're real.
He gives him $5. He's like, all right, yeah.
All right. Well,
Like a homeless man sees it, and all of a sudden he pours out his drink.
what I'm thinking is the last thing that our listeners will have heard was a Goosebumps book, a legacy episode Goosebumps book. It was Say Cheese and Die,
Oh, that's a great
the
one.
Oh my God.
haunted camera,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where the
God,
character.
I feel like that was so long ago.
It was very long. It was incredibly long ago. The haunted camera, where the characters were like, I definitely have a haunted camera. Should I keep using it? Yes.
Sure.
I will definitely keep using it. So that was the last thing they heard, and now they've listened to this, which is like, I think, a par, on the same level with like Goosebumps. I was thinking about doing another Goosebumps after this, but I kind of think that what we should do next is
All right, yeah.
probably get into some more adult fare.
Adult fare with Sweet Valley High.
Well, compared to what we just read.
Yeah.
So
I've been waiting months to get
for
back into the SVU.
SVU.
The Sweet Valley unit.
I think it's time. Okay, I'll go ahead and call it. I'll say the next episode that you're hearing is going to be Sweet Valley High number 2, Secrets.
I was off on that one, sorry guys.
I really hope they say the word secrets 1,000 times so we
So
can
you
whisper it.
It's like sliders. I love it.
Okay,
Best
remind me, Bekah, what are the 2 twins' names?
Well, we don't need to talk about it now. This isn't the Sweet Valley episode. It's Elizabeth and Jessica.
Elizabeth is a good one, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to remember because of the tagline.
But we're not reading it yet. We'll
know.
save this for the next
I know.
one.
I'm giving the listeners a little
Save it for the
taste of
next
what
one.
happens next. Just read the tagline for their listeners.
What Jessica wants, Jessica gets. Even if someone gets hurt.
Oh,
Dun,
shit.
dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Tune in next time for Below Grade Level when we dive into whatever Jessica's secret is with Sweet Valley High number 2. Secrets.
Feel pretty good with that.
Oh my goodness, this was fun. Thank you for joining us, Huey.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to be here and see you people and your bright shining faces.
That was great.
Do you have anything to plug?
Sure. I'll this feels like a crossover episode to me because I'm usually on Thundergrunt stuff, but now I'm on a Cactus Rodeo thing. So this is so anything from Thundergrunt, thundergrunt.com podcast. I had a podcast called They Know. It was about I called it a pseudo-educational podcast about pseudoscience and conspiracy theories.
Ooh.
It was a lot of fun. It's on hiatus now. I'm about to start a new podcast. My real name is Barry, so this podcast is called Oops All Berries. And
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
God damn it.
And it's just me. It's
His
autobiographically.
name is Barry. For the people that knew him longest, they call him Alex. But we know him as Huey.
Huey. I've got eras. I'm like a tree.
I forgot about your other 2 names.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
so I just want to know about this fucking podcast.
So
What's it about? Is it
just
about
wanted to-
cereals?
No, I wish I should just honestly I should retool this podcast and do this other thing.
Change your focus.
That's it. I'm just gonna do.
Just review cereals,
Reviewing
please.
cereals.
I'm in. Okay, I'm totally
Oh my
revamping
God.
this podcast because of this. Oops, all berries, and I'm just going to review podcasts with different people.
God.
What was it
I'm a
going
review
to be?
Well, I'm going to just do an autobiographical thing where I interview people that I know and just ask them questions about what they like. And it's called Oops All Berries because they're all people that I know.
Oh.
So it's like Berries apostrophe. So
Okay.
yeah, I call it an autobiographically guested podcast.
Wow.
I love it.
That's
That's
interesting.
great.
I love it.
I want to do like my folks and my grandmother because like, those
That's
people
awesome.
nobody
That's
ever
amazing.
and just like
No, I love it.
I don't know enough about
mom's
those
a
people.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then my friends and shit. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
love
yeah,
that.
but yeah, I mean, I just feel
Your
like
wife.
it's nice to eventually. Yeah, she's actually the first one. I wrote all her questions out.
We'll
Oh
get
my
to
goodness,
her.
I've bonked it.
You
But yeah,
bonked
so
it.
that's those are the things that I enjoy and do. So yeah, check it out
Awesome.
or not, whatever.
I'm
I'm not a
excited
cop.
about that, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I just that's it.
Well,
Follow me on all the things that Chris Z isn't funny.
you can follow me on things if you want it, John Bracken, and subscribe to our podcast. Just go to cactusrodeo.com/podcast. Subscribe to this show, Below Grade Level, and the Sketchy Show, and CD Reads, and Movie Club. And if you haven't,
Sketchy Show.
and if you haven't watched Pop Psychic Theater yet, go watch Pop Psychic Theater. And one day I'll make a new comic. One day.
And one
believe
day
in
we'll
you.
be done season 2 of Pop Psychic.
Yeah, one day we'll be done season 2. Season 2 is coming. One day. One day.
There was a pandemic. I mean,
It was a pandemic.
I mean,
What are you
come
gonna do?
on, people.
What are you going to do? Thank you for listening, and we love you. Bye.
We love you.
Bye.
Below Grade Level is a Cactus Radio production. You can contact us at podcast@cactusrodeo.com. Subscribe and follow on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and follow Cactus Rodeo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more entertainment and updates.